And now, from Shenango Valley Studios, coming to you live, one of the most talked about shows in the Shenango Valley, because it's the only show in the Shenango Valley. Your host, Sean Zippi with The Zip Code. Well, folks, here we are. Season 3 of The Zip Code. And thank you, Andrew Gary, for putting that beautiful introduction together for us. We appreciate you, man. If you guys need any multimedia stuff with music, sound, etc., Andrew Gary, you are the man. Speaking of the man, I'm going to pull out some shirts real fast because we got some cool merch for some people. Anybody that wants to buy, you can head over to _zip code. You can direct message us on there. But we got some cool shirts that say the zip code, which I am sporting here. On the back, a bunch of our guests have a quote on there. Like I said, you can head over to _zip code. You can check those out. I want to thank Valley Silk Screening for designing these shirts. You might know about this logo right there. That dude looks familiar. Looks a little goofy, but on the back, it also says a zip code and has a bunch of different quotes on there. So, without further ado, let's talk about the show tonight. And if you guys saw on Instagram as well, we had a bunch of pictures. We had a cool photo shoot. You guys know who you are. Thank you very much for doing that for us. We had a lot of fun doing it. And I want to thank the creative mastermind behind the photos. It rivals Taylor Swift's album cover. But Derek Work, Dr. Work, Dr. Work 15. Give that dude a follow. He's legit. He's got amazing camera skills. Give that guy a follow. He's the mastermind. He's the creative dude behind all the pictures that you will see on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you coming out yesterday. All you've done for the show. We really appreciate that. So, tonight, we have Dolly Neely, Survivor Season 9. So we're going to bring her in. We're ready to have some fun. Thank you guys for sticking with the zip code. This is Season 3. We've had a lot of fun guests that have come on the show, and we're going to continue to do so. So without further ado, let's bring Dolly in here. Let's bring her in here. Let's see. Sorry, folks. We're trying to bring Dolly in here. Here we go. The famous Dolly from CBS Survivor. Here we go.
Hey.
Hey, Dolly, how are you?
Pretty good tonight. I have a little heart palpitation because I've never done Instagram live before. I'm just a little hillbilly here.
Well, no worries at all. Now listen, is your phone tilted sideways?
Yes, but that's how my tripod is. So it needs to go the other way.
Yeah, is it possible to turn it just so we can actually see you? Well, I mean, we can see you, but... And beautiful, yes.
Up more. Ah! Okay. Back.
Back a little more, yeah, so we can see your whole head. And the is that a cockatoo right there?
That's a cockatoo. This is Leroy. I needed moral support, so I chose him.
So now I've seen some pictures of you on Instagram, and I've seen some videos of you just driving or you being around town places in Western PA.
Yes.
Do you always have a bird on your shoulder?
I pretty much do have a bird permanently sewn to my shoulder, my arm, my head, and my latest thing now is my possum friend.
Your possum friend.
My possum? I found a baby possum, maybe 2 months old, in the yard the other day, and now I have him here. I can bring him out. We'll save that for later, though.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we got close to an hour before Instagram kicks us off. We got a lot of touch base on, but yes, I wouldn't mind seeing your possum friend make an entrance at some time on the zip code.
We'll wait for it.
All right. So let me give you an introduction to the show real quick here, and then also to the viewers that have tuned in. Guys, if you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. We will try our best to get to them. Folks, I want to thank you to our sponsor, Sheets, as well. Sheets Run and Done. Thank you, Sheets.
Hey, I need a Sheets coffee.
You need a Sheets coffee?
Yeah, where's my Sheets coffee? I need a Sheets coffee and a zip code shirt.
Well, we can get you both. That's not a problem.
Okay, all right.
And I see that you have is it a sunflower farm that you have?
Yeah, I plant the sunflowers for the bees, for the food for the bees. Plus, it's beautiful too.
Right. So I'm thinking that when I deliver the coffee and the Sheets shirt, then I'll come out and I'll be able to pick some sunflowers, right?
Get a nice big bouquet.
Oh,
I've people just come out and pick your own. They're kind of on the decline now. They've seen their best day, and they're still beautiful though. That yellow color is just killer in the sunshine.
oh, for sure, for sure. So we're still missing like the top half of your head. If you want to back up a little bit, you can, but I mean it's completely up to you.
No,
Hey,
the
that's
top of my
that's
head is overrated.
that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, so a little bit about the show, Dolly. We specialize on the zip code at giving people a backlot tour into either a celebrity's life or a sporting event or whatever. So you today happen to be the cool celebrity that's on the zip code. So we're going to try to pick your brain and give the viewers a little behind the scenes action about Survivor. How's that?
Okay, sounds good. I'm ready. I
All
say.
right. So let's first start with this. You are you still a sheep farmer? That was one of the things that was listed on Survivor. It was Dolly, and she was a sheep farmer. Do you still raise sheep?
No, I kept the sheep. Those were my grandparents' sheep. Really, my grandfather. He was the true shepherd, and he was my best friend. So I sort of just came by the sheep herding by him. But he passed away right before I was on Survivor, and I did take over the sheep farm. But I kept them for about a year. It just wasn't the same without him around, and it was a lot of responsibility. And at the time, after the show, I got to travel quite a bit, and just trying to manage everything and do it well wasn't for me. So I kind of got out of the sheep farming and farming altogether for a while. It's only been in the last 5, 6, 7 years that I got back into living over here at the farm now, and acquiring all these chickens and ducks and turkeys and parrots and whatever. I traded the sheep for feathers. I traded wool for feathers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what takes up most of your time nowadays?
The beekeeping is really my main thing now. It just keeps growing and growing. The honey. I started out just wanting to sell honey, not realizing that beekeeping was really an entire industry with queen rearing and selling bees, getting new beekeepers started with nukes. We call that 5-frame nuke. That's usually what you buy in the spring if you want to get started with bees. So I started doing that, and just last week I had an artificial insemination of queen bees event here at the farm with a bunch of really neat people from all over Ohio, West Virginia, PA, like the state beekeeper, presidents, and yeah. So beekeeping, that's my main thing, and that's what I want to stick. That's what I want to stick with, and even get bigger with the bee.
So you can do beekeeping as a full-time job.
Pretty much, yeah. If you maybe not just with honey, but if you tap into the other areas that are pretty lucrative, actually, the doing the artificial insemination and getting these specific genetics for these rock star queens, you can charge like $3 to $5 per queen. So you're talking like $500 a bug. So that is pretty good.
Wow. Now, I have on the zip code shirt here. I have on some green overalls. I didn't even strap both of the straps. I only have one strap. You have overalls on. I have a black hat. I have long hair. Could I pass for a beekeeper?
Are you afraid to get stung?
Oh, I'm very afraid to get stung.
Well, we'd have to work on that, and maybe we could get you some gloves and a veil. You probably want to pull your hair up because it's really hot. You can try it. You can come over. I'd be willing to teach you.
There you go. There you go. So, folks, we have Dolly from season 9 of Survivor Vanuatu on. We're going to get to some questions for her in a second. Thank you to our sponsor, Sheets. We're going to get Dolly that Sheets coffee there.
I need it. I'm an early bird. This is like late for me. I'm having my tea by now and in my jammies and hair all twisted up with the grease on my face so I don't get wrinkles.
Well, I mean, you got the cockatoo there for moral support, so you'll be all right for the next 50 minutes or so. What's the cockatoo's name? Charlie?
This is Leroy.
Oh, that's Leroy. Okay. Does he talk?
He says Leroy. That's about it. And he screams if he can't see me.
Okay.
He's very possessive, so that's why I'm holding him really, because I didn't want you to have to hear his maniac yells in the background.
Gotcha. What do you say, Leroy, right now?
He may eventually. He doesn't do it on command. He just does his own random thing whenever he feels like it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And
All
the
right. So,
possum can't talk either.
oh, that's tough. Maybe you can train it. So let's jump right in here. Looks like we are buffering here on Dolly's connection. But folks, we're gonna jump in, talk to Dolly about Survivor. Then we're gonna go to a few questions that you guys have sent in, and then we will get to the rapid fire round in a second. So
Okay.
yeah, it looks like
it paused for a second on my end. It said because of poor connection. This is so funny. I have to work out the bugs of doing this. We should have done like a trial mock run.
well, hey, listen, if you touch the screen, maybe it will actually help with the lighting and whatnot. I don't know. It seems like it is still buffering a little bit, but you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the picture will come in better. But let's jump into actually talk about Survivor. So listen, I wanna know from beginning to end what that experience was like. I want to start from the very beginning. So are you a huge Survivor fan, or did somebody say, hey, Dolly, you should just fill this application out and you might be on Survivor?
No, I was not a big Survivor fan. Of course, I had known and heard about Richard Hatch with the naked guy on the first season. I didn't really watch it. I wasn't a big TV person even back then, but my grandfather had died and my mom was home. She worked in Washington, D.C., and she was home and saw on the TV to go to the Eastwood Mall for Survivor auditions. And we were all kind of sad and depressed and not knowing what life was going to be like after losing my pap. And she said, go over there for the day, even if you don't get chosen or whatever, just get away for the day, go to the mall. See? Come on, Leroy. So I went to Eastwood Mall and stood in line and talked about myself for like 30 seconds. And all I said was, I'm Dolly. I'm a sheep farmer from Mercer County. And I'd like to be on Survivor. And about a month later, then on Valentine's Day, they called me and said, hey, are you alone? Because this is a confidential call. And I'm thinking, huh? And of course, it's Valentine's Day, and I was by myself. And they said, hey, we want to interview you again down at KDKA for Survivor and the next round of auditions. And I really just couldn't say much because it was such a shock. I think I auditioned at Eastwood middle of December, and then it was February before I heard anything for the next part of the audition process. So, yeah, after KDKA, then they called me maybe in a couple weeks, and I went out to LA for 14 days of auditions where you stay in a hotel room by yourself. There are 50 other people that they've chosen. They've dwindled it down to the top 50 people. And we can't talk to anyone. We're kind of like sequestered in our hotel room for these 14 days. They can call us at any time, morning, noon, or night, in the middle of the night, and we had to go up to the top floor of this hotel and meet with the producer, Mark Burnett, and just like this kind of like interview, random questions. They asked us all sorts of stuff, just trying to figure out who we were. And on the last day of those auditions, I was about ready to go crazy because I had been in this room, couldn't talk to people, couldn't really talk to my family or my mom and tell them what was going on. So they call me up on the last day and they say, "Oh, we're so sorry, Dolly. Thank you for coming out. It's been nice kind of getting to know you, but we've seen so many girls like you." And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, my heart is sinking. I went through all this for nothing. But then they said, "You're going to Vanuatu." And then the next, like within 15 minutes, you talk to Mark Burnett, and there were some other executive producers there. Then you're going to get shots. Like they fill you full of shots for, malaria and all this other stuff that could be exposed to, hepatitis. So that right after you find out you're going to be on Survivor, then you get vaccines.
So let's back up a little bit. So when you first went to the Eastwood Mall, how
Yeah.
many people were in line to be on Survivor? Were there like thousands of people? I mean, this was back in what? This was back in 2004?
Yeah, 2004. I'd say it was probably over 1,000, close 1,500, 2,000 people. It was the whole mall. Back then, it was huge. I mean, it's still huge now, but I think it was really, 20 million, 30 million viewers back then a season. So I think God knew I was going to be on there, even though I didn't do well once I actually was on the show, because in amongst that line of thousands of people, the local newspaper took my picture, and I was in the newspaper from the audition. So I like, wow, God, okay, I think I'm going to get on this show. I don't know why I didn't do very good. I was too nice, and I don't know. I just
Well,
couldn't.
we'll get to that later on in the show. But so I mean, did everybody get to have a tryout that was in that line?
I think so. They said that every person had 2 minutes, which most people like me were so nervous once you got into this little. They had like a curtain and a camera, and you just walk up these risers, and just they say, okay, you hold your name on a card, and they just say you have 2 minutes to tell us about yourself, which I'm sure, like me, most people took 30 seconds. And as far as I know, as soon as I auditioned, I left. So I don't know, but I imagine that they were there all day. So
So you said my name's Dolly and I'm a sheep farmer. Is basically what you said.
yeah, basically what I said. And I want to be on Survivor, which I didn't know what that meant. But I think it was the time that Dolly, the clone sheep, was kind of in the news. And I just had that whole kind of catchy sheep farmer thing going on.
And so then you get a call later to go down to Pittsburgh, and there's a whole other audition round in Pittsburgh.
There's a whole nother audition at KDKA, and this time they have a camera actually set up and two people asking you questions. So and back then I was a lot better at this, but so as you're talking, they're just seeing your presence on camera, I guess, and how well you can articulate yourself, which I must have been a lot better back then than now.
Oh no, you're doing fine. Keep it up. So if you didn't meet Mark Burnett until you went out to LA, correct?
Yeah, we didn't meet Burnett until probably the second week of auditions in LA. And then I even met Les Moonves, who was the president of CBS at the time. The last few days of the 14 days, they bussed us over to CBS Studios, and we met with those guys. Like we sat on a big conference table and got called in one at a time to meet even those big wigs.
So you go to LA, they fly you out, they pay for absolutely everything, correct?
Yeah.
And you're in a hotel room, and they say what? They say do not leave for 2 weeks. You're going to be in this hotel room. We'll call you when we need you.
Yeah, basically that's it. They fed us 3 meals a day. We had an hour to go to the gym if we wanted. So they told us what time we could go, because there were 50 other potential contestants at the same time at this hotel, but we weren't allowed to talk to anyone. It's kind of like they just said you're sequestered in your hotel room. People, they had chaperones that would watch over us. It was very bizarre. So we weren't communicating with each other because we all sat. When we would go to like lunch or something, you would see the other people, and you would and then looking back, I was like, oh, I remember Julie, you know, or I remember seeing her at lunch or something, you know, and she got chosen. But yeah, it was, if they wanted to call me at 6 in the morning, I had to be ready in 5 minutes and up to the, I think it was, I don't know, the top floor of that hotel. So you had to, it didn't matter how you looked or what you were wearing. If you were sleeping, you just had to go and be ready to answer any questions, do push-ups, you know, any kind of personal questions. You know, that's a secular show and they don't care. They'll ask you, they'll dig into your private life and everything under the sun. They ask you.
Wow, this is a lot of great content here. This is a lot of great content. So let me run the viewers. If you can, if you have any questions, you can let us know. Somebody just said they're sorry they're late to the show. Well, you are just in time because we're about to dig into Survivor, and we're going to learn some more behind-the-scenes stuff about a great show that's been on the air for, I don't know, over 20-some years now, probably.
Over 30 seasons. I'm not even sure what season they're on now. They're doing all winners and superstars, and
yeah, my producer just said 40 seasons. So I mean that's a lot of seasons. You know, I'm thinking they may call you back, Dolly. They may call you back.
Well, I would probably get voted off again first, but I'd still go.
All right, so folks, we're here with Dolly Neely, season 3 Survivor, Vanuatu, from Western PA, graduated from Mercer High School, went to Grove City College. She is born and raised in Western PA, which hey, we like those people on the show.
Yeah, this area is great, and I think there's a lot of great people around here that have a lot to offer, and there's a lot of cool people. You know, there was Amber. She went to Westminster. She won. Jenna. She was from Pittsburgh. She won. I'm like the only PA girl that didn't win.
Well, that's why they might have you back.
Yeah. My chance is coming.
It is. I mean, after, especially now that you're on the zip code. I mean, who knows where this career could be?
Rising.
Oh my gosh, it's like a rocket to the moon, as one of the great guys on the show said, Ted Scott. It's like a rocket to the moon.
All aboard. I'm ready. I am. I really feel like I need a strategist. I need some people to help me. If that was ever to come up that I would get another chance, I would need like a team to help.
Absolutely. And the producer is a huge fan. I like Survivor. I don't watch a ton of it now, but you know, if you got the call, I would watch all 40 seasons and I would help you strategize. So there you go.
It's a lot to take in. It really is. And I don't think there's any one surefire way of winning. There's so much luck involved, and just whoever else you're on there with, and girls. My season was girls against boys, so I think I maybe have done a little better. Maybe not if I had been with guys, but with the girls, it was just I was so in the middle, and at that time I really hadn't traveled a whole lot, a little bit with my mom, so I was really a sheep farmer, country bumpkin, trying to fit in with these girls that, I mean, it was an education in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. So let's go from you going to LA and then them telling you, hey, you're on the show, you get all the shots. What is the next thing that you did after? Did you fly home and they said, hey, you have 30 days till you're in Vanuatu, or what?
I think it really was maybe a month and a half until we were ready. And there's a great big long list of, you know, what you can take for your clothing to wear on the show. And then you have to, of course, be prepared for being gone from home for 42 days. So just packing the proper things and you had to send clothes that you wanted to wear on the show ahead of time for their okay. You couldn't have any, you couldn't have Adidas or Nike, no logos of any sort. And so that stuff all had to be sent ahead of time. And then you had to choose what your one item that you would, like your special item, or I forget what they call it now, that you would want to like comfort you out there, which I took a picture of triplet sheep that we had, which I don't know why I would take a picture on an island. Like that's really going to help me out a lot. So yeah, all that, and you have to sign a confidentiality agreement, and all of your family has to too, that you tell.
Folks, looks like we are.
That
Oh, we lost you for a second there, Dolly. You back?
I don't know why I'm cutting out. I live in a big steel building, so the service is hit or miss. That's why I'm sitting where I'm sitting, which is kind of an odd location. But this was my surefire, hopefully not dropping out spot.
No, I think it's great, and maybe we'll do a zip code episode in the future. We just come to the farm.
Yeah, and bring your sheets banner.
Bring the Sheets banner. I'll bring you coffee. I'll bring you a zip code shirt. I'll get to meet Leroy. I'll get to meet all your other birds. Sheets run and done. Thank you, Sheets. We are here with Dolly Neely, season 9 of Survivor Vanuatu. So, Dolly, let's say this. So they call you. They say, hey, you know what? You're on the show. You go back home. You send stuff in. Do they actually tell you, Dolly, this is what we want you to send in to be approved as far as clothes go? Do they tell you, like, this is what we want your image to look like? Or do they just say, send us clothes?
No, they don't get that specific. It's just basically one pair of shorts, one pair of pants, a tank top, a long sleeve shirt, underwear, socks, things like just basic things. And the only thing that I sent in that wasn't okay was my tank top that had a little Nike logo at the bottom. They did let me keep that, but they used a Sharpie and crossed out the swoosh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So do they do that with a lot of the shoes as well?
I didn't remember anyone having any trouble with the shoes. That's a good question, how they do that. My shoes, that was one thing that was never dry. In a week's time, my shoes were never dry. My feet were just, you know how your feet get if they're just never dry, they get all white and clammy, and it was disgusting. I think I wore Merrell's, but I don't remember them caring about the logo on the shoe, but they did on the clothes.
Yeah, that's interesting that they didn't care about the shoe, but they did on the clothes. That's very interesting.
It might
So,
now.
so so you're on your way to Vanuatu. Is everybody on the same plane?
I think half of us were on the same plane, and they separated us into twos, and then we would have our own chaperone. So they kind of sat in between us, and they really took it very seriously that none of us formed any type of relationship or got to know each other before the show actually started. Even when we arrived in Vanuatu, we had a press day. We stayed at a dive resort in these little huts in the South Pacific. It was just so beautiful and so perfect. I had never seen anything like that other than in movies. But even in our little huts, 2 of us had a third person as a chaperone. So they knew during the night we weren't talking and saying, hey, if you don't vote me out, I won't vote you out, and stuff like that. But that still did go on because the lady that I slept with did ask me if it comes to it, her Twyla, and she backstabbed me big time because we did have a moment where we said, okay, we won't vote for each other. And that she did vote for me.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I never even thought about that, like how a lot of people know each other before the actual game. I've never heard that ever.
Yeah, they don't want you to talk to any of the other people on the show. And we ate together and everything. Was a very strange scenario where you are with these people that you're on this TV show with, and you're making eye contact and trying to just read people. At that point you're trying to see, okay, so there's this lady and this guy and whatever, but you can't tell. Hey, there goes Leroy. Leroy,
Hey,
please. He's so bad.
Leroy wants to be on the show. That's all. I mean, he likes the zip code. I can feel it. I can feel the love.
Hey, you get your
Oh,
own. You get your own show, Leroy. Next time.
that's right, Leroy. So you get to Vanuatu, which for folks, if those of you who don't know, it's about 1,000 miles away from Australia. I think it's the Pacific Islands. So is Fiji, I think, is one of those islands there.
Yeah, Fiji. Well, we flew to Australia, and then hold on a second. Then we went. Okay, Leroy.
Folks, you might be getting another animal, which will be in for a treat.
I'm gonna take you with me. I hope it doesn't drop out. I'm gonna put him away.
Not a problem at all.
Okay, Leroy, go ahead. Okay, he's out.
All right, great. We have to meet the other animal at some point as well.
Okay, always shoot. Ah, just so long as it doesn't drop out. I was so worried about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you didn't drop out. And folks, this may be one of the only zip code episodes you may ever see where myself and the guest on the show were both wearing overalls, which is just a great thing.
Yeah, matchy matchy.
Yeah, matchy. So you get to Vanuatu, and let's dive into the show. So
Okay.
when you're there a couple days, and then all of a sudden they put you on the ship, and then you start to meet the contestants, and you guys are on the ship, and then you get off the land, and all those tribal people start running with spears to you guys. Is that what happened?
Yes, so they kind of keep you in suspense as to when they are going to come and get you and say, okay, we're actually now going to go and start the show. And they didn't start us until the evening and in the pouring rain. If anyone's watching that I did see it, they came to get us. It starts raining and put us on this ship, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is really the start of it. And then they slaughter that pig. You know, they first of all they put us boys over here, girls over here, and at that point I'm like, oh man, I hope it's not boys against girls. And then it's pouring rain, nighttime, and they explain to you after that big ceremony with the pig and drinking the kava. That was the boys only got to drink that, but that was fine because I was tired. I was getting tired anyways, and that stuff makes you tired. And then so Probst comes out and does the beginning, and they say, okay, you have to walk along this beach and through this island wilderness until you find your flag, and then that's where your beach is. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's nighttime. We have no idea. We're all shell shocked, of course, just the whole thing, and cameras, and then just the whole idea of having a camera follow you and look at you and everything you're saying. And we were just all overwhelmed, and so we just walk aimlessly, and we all started fighting right away, of course, like women. And some of us wanted to just hold up for the night and let it just hang out until we could see where we were going, because the terrain was like pretty rocky, and all the palm trees and the palm fronds that were on the ground, coconuts falling.
Hold on one second. I thought your hair was blowing. You have something in your hair?
That's Wendell.
Oh my gosh. What is that?
Wendell is the newest addition here at the Dolly farm. He was in the yard, and I left him for dead. But then I saw him later on in the day, and I picked him up and gave him a name, and now he's kind of here. But he has to go to a sanctuary once he gets a little bigger.
Gotcha. So that's the possum.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing is tiny. I thought your hair was blowing. Oh my gosh, look at that thing. What's up, Wendell? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Guy. Hey, Sean.
You know, you should like back in the day, Dave Letterman, he would have, the late night show, and he'd have the one Australian guy come on, the producer, my brother, he can give me his name. and he would come on the show, and he would like have all these animals with him, you know, these crazy exotic animals.
I remember that, and somewhere Dave would not want to hold and shy away from.
Yeah, yeah. The producer, do we remember that guy's name?
There was Jack Hanna, but I don't think that was who that was.
Jack Hanna, that's right, from the Columbus Zoo. You're right. He wasn't from Australia. But
No.
then Steve Irwin would come on as well, right? I think, and then Steve Irwin's son, I think, now comes on some
wow.
late night shows, which is interesting. But anyway, so yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, you had an animal in your hair, so we got that clarified. That's great. That might be one of the top moments on the zip code, just seeing that you had a possum on your head. Nice.
He's very clean.
That's good. That's good. So, go ahead.
People don't know a whole lot about possums, but for the babies, for them to go to the bathroom, they have to be put in warm water. So he doesn't just like a bird just go whenever he feels like it. He has to be stimulated with warm water to go to the bathroom. So if people are thinking, oh my gosh, that thing's in her hair, and no, he's clean. He has to go in warm water to go to the potty. So
yeah. Well, he looks clean. He looks clean. I like it. He's cute. Wendell. I like it. So you're on the show, and once you guys get on the island, the guys were drinking what?
It was it's called kava, and that's a native. I think that's all in the South Pacific. They all drink that because I know they drink it in Fiji. And it's kind of, they say it's kind of like beer, but I have tried it since then, and it just kind of makes you sleepy. I don't really get any like buzz or anything from it, but you just kind of get like, oh, I'm a little tired now that I drank that.
What's in it?
It's a root of some sort. So a native root to the South Pacific that they say if you drink enough of it, you can hallucinate and all this. But I think it's mostly just a sleepy time, like downer kind of drink. It's like mud. It tastes like dirt. It's not appetizing. It's just kind of like when in Rome, when in the South Pacific, you try kava.
Right. Yeah. I gotcha. So how many cameramen and people with microphones are following you guys around at all times?
I think there were 2 sets of 3 guys. So one with the boom or whatever, you know, hanging that microphone down, and then 2 other producers. And the producers are basically there watching, and they pull you aside. So they're just watching you live, and all that's being recorded, and your relationship building and things like that. And then from time to time, they will come and say, Dolly, come with us. And oh, did it drop out?
You're good.
You go away from the group and you lean up against a tree or, you know, some other area, and they ask you. Now looking back, I feel like they asked us very leading questions. Like they would plant these seeds in our mind. Like, do you think that Liza likes you? And do you think that Amy and her are plotting against you? So and these thoughts, when you haven't eaten and you haven't had any water or sleep, and you're completely out of your routine and element, your mind does not work. You're not really thinking much of anything. You just kind of get like, where you can't even complete a sentence. So then they're putting all these ideas in your head, and then you think, oh, maybe Liza doesn't like me, and maybe they are talking about me, and they want to vote me out. So then you get all twisted in your emotions, and you just act differently than what you just yourself, because you've had these ideas planted in your head by these producers about what's really going on.
Right. And now are all these contestants, is everybody getting pulled out at the exact same time to talk to the producers?
No, they'll just randomly come in and take Julie off and take me off to the side, and everybody else would stay. So there were 9 of us, so just they would take me off and 8 of them would stay. And another thing about that kind of created conflict was, so if the producers were coming and always asking me to go off to the side, then I felt like the other girls were like, oh, why are they always asking her to go and answer questions and this and that? So then that creates conflict, because they're thinking, oh, she's getting more attention than me, and if you're not, then there will be a day where they haven't come and asked me to go off camera and any questions at all. So then you start thinking, oh, I'm not getting any, questions. I'm not getting any special time. And then your mind, it's so much more mental than it is physical, Survivor, as far as my opinion goes. There is a huge physical part of it, obviously, that you can starve and do all those challenges and this and that, but it's so much more mental and dealing with your own emotions plus other people that are so different, and they're just, you don't know if they're telling you the truth, if they're just being nice to you to your face but then talking bad about you to the rest of the group. It's really hard. I cried. I mean, there's one scene where the food is rotten, that we found plantains and watercress, and we made like a stew with coconut, and then we looked down and it's moving because there are maggots in the coconut was rotten, and I just break down and bawl. It's so much more mental. It was
Yeah.
for me than physical.
Now it's kind of interesting me that to me that they have like you said, they have one guy with the microphone, the boomstick, and then maybe a cameraman, a producer, and there's two sets of three of them. It's kind of interesting to me when people are trying to go find like different things, or they're trying to find secrets in the game, that it's that secretive at times when you got three people following you.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. I think that just kind of like goes below the radar, but of course there's always a cameraman there. If you're watching it on TV, somebody's been there to record it. Yeah, they pretty much record anything too, other than maybe obviously going to the bathroom, but they are standing right close by, because say, okay, I walk off to go to the bathroom and then there's this big snake or something, that's great TV. So you really don't have any privacy whatsoever when you want to take a bath or something like that. And they did tease us that certain footage was in the Survivor vault, that didn't make it to TV and things like that. Well, I had one girl, ours, that they didn't care about being naked and doing all of that, and they show some of that on TV, of course, because that's what people want to see. But that's on camera and that's on video somewhere. All that.
That is crazy. So, folks, we're on with Dolly, Neely from Survivor. So you were voted out the first female, not the first one of the whole entire show, but so technically the second contestant out of 18 when they split males and females. You guys lost that. I believe it was the second challenge. So, and I noticed, because I went back and I watched some of the footage, that you sat out that challenge. So how did they decide that? Did you volunteer to sit out?
Well, I did volunteer because at that time my heart rate was so accelerated from not eating and not drinking that there's a whole medical team around you and checking on you all the time, checking your vitals and things like that. And after I had lost 11 pounds in the 7 days that I was there, so that challenge. The medical director was like, you can't do this because your heart rate is too elevated. So I did volunteer because I wasn't feeling good, but also I was told that I had to sit that one out because my heart was just pounding. I wasn't I think I was dehydrated and just not eating.
But they're not giving you anything off air, right?
Oh, you don't get anything that you can win stuff in challenges, but we hadn't won. We did have fire, and we tried making. We had like a cast iron pot, and we would cut up the coconut with our big long machete. Us women out there with a machete cutting up coconut, if you can imagine, is not the simplest thing to do, but it's actually wonderful cooked over a fire. Coconut is. It's divine. But then it gives you diarrhea. So
There's that.
There's that, yeah. So there's so many different crazy aspects of it all. Yeah, that challenge I did sit out. And looking back, I wish I hadn't, because maybe that would have helped me to stay in the game had I participated in that challenge.
Well, yeah, you never know. Hindsight's 2020. We'll see when you get back on there again after the producers of CBS or the producers of Survivor see you on the zip code again with a possum crawling through your hair. They'll have you back on the show.
This girl has it. She has it.
She has it. Or maybe they'll say that host of the zip code, we want that guy on Survivor.
Yeah, now that's probably the more likely scenario. You look like somebody that's already been on there. Maybe we could both do Naked and Afraid. Everyone always like correlates the two of those together and asks me, "Well, you did Survivor. Would you do Naked and Afraid?" But I don't think that's even on TV anymore.
I don't even know. I'm
I
not
don't.
even sure.
But that's a common question people say to me. Oh, would you do Naked and Afraid? And I'm like, no, I would prefer not to do anything like that.
Yeah, I mean
I,
it does seem that once you're on one one
yeah.
game show that it leads to other game shows as well nowadays.
So would you do Survivor?
Oh, I would do it for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be very tough, especially like I definitely become a baby when I don't feel good. I become a baby. I just do.
Oh, you're
But
such a baby.
yeah, I mean, like if I'm hungry, or if I feel even like a tad bit sick, I become a little bit of a baby. So I mean, it might be good TV, but you
You'd be
know,
burnt out.
yeah, I'd
You
have
know,
to.
if I do it again, I'm gonna bulk up too because you think, oh, you want to be fit and thin and look good on TV. No, you need to gain like 30 pounds and just get raw to last. Because if you start out thin, it's gonna be so hard on you. And a lot of the guys that are like physically fit, I forget the guy's name, that he was so built and you just thought, oh, this guy is just made for Survivor. He was such a baby when he didn't have his protein and all this stuff. I forget his name, darn it. But it was early on. I really stopped watching it. After you lose, then you have all these terrible feelings. You can't watch it. You can't watch it anymore. You just think, oh, I should
Yeah.
have. I would have.
Well,
It's a sad feeling.
a show we're gonna move on to the rapid fire round, but a show my brother and I would definitely go on, and I don't watch it nowadays, but we used to watch it. Is Amazing Race. I mean, we're both
Oh,
very extremely competitive. It's like it would be decent TV, him yelling at me, but yeah, I mean that would be a really fun show to be on. But
was an awesome show. That was kind of like the precursor to Survivor, wasn't it? That show was on before Survivor.
I
Or is
I
it?
think I think so. Yeah. Now I don't know if they still air it or if they've changed it a little bit, but yeah, I'm not sure.
So are you friends with Eric Bombeck? I have to ask with
Yes. Yep.
Eric's. Okay. Yeah, he's a good guy. We have a lot of fun when I get to go on and do the show.
Yeah, and I appreciate him getting me in contact with you. So yeah, shout out to Eric Bombeck for sure.
He's not watching this because I don't think he does Instagram. But
Well,
we'll tell him about it.
we'll tell him. Yeah, he should be watching it, but yeah, we'll tell him about it. So, all right, we're here with Dolly Neely. She was on Survivor season 9, Vanuatu. She was the second person voted out, first woman voted out. She got backstabbed just like everybody else. But that's all right. I do think it was because you're probably just you're too nice at the time, maybe.
Way too nice. And needed to make an alliance. I think that's one important thing. If you ever are on Survivor, that you form an alliance early, so you do have that like solid people that okay, these are my people. You don't try to please everyone. I'm a people pleaser. I think God made me that way. I don't think it's gonna change. So I was
Hey,
hard for me to use. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but they were not worried about hurting mine.
right. They're ruthless. They're ruthless. All right, so let's get on to the rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you a bunch of random questions. If you can answer them with just whatever first comes to the top of your mind, just kind of immediately, that would be amazing. This is probably the most famous segment on the zip code called the rapid fire round.
Oh dear.
All right, so here we go. Ready? We got about 20 questions here. I'm just going to start.
Go ahead. I'm
Oh,
getting the bottom out of my hair.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to wait for you to get the possum out of here, but all right. Yeah, we can do it. All right. Dolly Neely, rapid fire round. Here we go. One thing you hated about Survivor.
Uh, Jeff Probst.
We'll get back to that. Okay. One thing you loved about Survivor.
The vacation of a lifetime.
Fruits or vegetables?
Vegetables.
One interesting fact people don't know about you.
Oh, geez. Good God. I think everybody knows everything. I skip it. I'm not interesting. I have a possum.
There you go. Friendliest person on Survivor Vanuatu.
Julie Berry.
Last time you ate fast food.
Uh, like this morning.
What'd you have?
McMuffin.
Great call. Favorite Disney movie?
Cinderella.
If your birds could describe you in one word, what would it be?
Too clean. Too worried about cleaning up.
Gotcha. Favorite holiday?
Easter.
Favorite food?
Chocolate.
Favorite animal?
Birds. Swans. Swans.
We'll get back to that as well. One thing you're afraid of?
Wrinkles.
Favorite state?
Pennsylvania.
Great call. Book or movie?
Book.
Least favorite farm animal?
Goats.
Favorite genre of music?
Oldies.
Favorite sport?
Basketball.
On average, how much TV do you watch per day?
Maybe half hour. Jeopardy.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Favorite hobby?
Beekeeping.
Would you do Survivor again?
Probably.
One Survivor contestant I should try to get on the show.
Chris Doherty. He's Ohio. Or Jenna Marasco. She would do it. And she won. She'd be awesome.
Let's make that happen.
I could probably help you to make that happen.
Let's do it.
She's cool.
And last but not least, the most important question I will ask you all night. Where will this show, the zip code, be in 5 years?
It will be on CBS prime time.
Now that is what I'm talking about.
High five! Woo!
Folks, Dolly, Neely just acing the rapid fire round. That was good.
I'm not that interesting. I don't know an interesting fact about myself.
No, that was good. I'm interested to know one thing you hated about Survivor, and you just say the host's name. This guy. Survivor's ready. Go.
He has no patience. So when you're out there and he's explaining a challenge, and some of the challenges, even the couple that I got to participate in, they're kind of elaborate, you know, and he has to give you the rules and tell you, okay, step 1, step 2, and if you have any, he'll ask you, do you have any questions? But then when you say, okay, now what was that again, and he doesn't keep in mind that you're starving, you're out of your element, all this stuff, and he swears, just no patience with us. He may be different now, but back then my impression of him was like, this guy's so arrogant.
That's very interesting. Somebody did comment that Jeff Probst was a jerk. So, I mean, that's interesting that you say that. But, yeah, I mean, I have noticed that on a lot of the challenges when they just show it on TV. It's like, wow, do they go over that for like 45 minutes to make sure everybody understands what exactly is going on? Because I don't know what the heck's happening right now.
Yeah, they do go over it with, but just and you do get it. I mean, they're good at what they do, and the challenges are very well designed. But of course, from time to time you have a question, and he just didn't have any patience. But
so we got about 6 more minutes, but I do have a few more questions to get to you. So one question just popped in, actually from my brother. How long does it take from the time you guys get there to when the challenge starts?
From when we get to the island?
No, to the actual challenge.
So I think we were out there for like 2 days before the first challenge, first challenge. And
then when it's challenge day, you guys walk to the challenge. How long is that?
It depends on the location. So all the challenges are in different locations. Some you can walk to from where your beach is. Some we had to get onto a boat and go maybe half hour away and to the location of the challenge. So it just depends. They're all over the place out there. They're
What about tribal council?
we could walk to our tribal, so that wasn't too far. They just say, okay, they come and you carry the little torch and walk in a single file line and think, oh, I'm not getting voted out tonight.
And then when you get voted off and you walk down that path, what
Yeah.
exactly happens there?
So you walk, you get voted off. I was kind of relieved because I was so hungry.
Looks like
So then there's the psychologist. There's a psychologist and then the medical team, and they kind of just debrief you or whatever. I guess debriefing wouldn't be the right word, but they kind of just like talk you down and ask you how you're feeling and how you're coping with being voted out. And the medical director checks you all out. And then you go to the Ponderosa, which is what it's famously called on Survivor, where when you're voted out, you go to Ponderosa. And beforehand, they've asked you all your favorites, and that they kind of greet you with, I said my favorite was spaghetti back then. So we had spaghetti dinner the night that I was voted out. I liked Reese cups at the time. So I probably ate like 25 Reese cups that night with my spaghetti. And so you just eat and talk to the other people that are at the Ponderosa. So the chaperones, the medical staff, and there's a psychologist even that, monitors your mood.
Wow. So we have about 3 minutes left, but I want to get to this. Any other secrets that a lot of the viewers would have no idea about or would be surprised to hear about the show?
I don't really know. I don't think I made it long enough to know any real secrets. I think no, I don't know any secrets.
Yeah. Well, we hit a lot. You gave us a great backlot tour. I also wanted to get to just how your favorite animal is swans. And if people go on your Instagram, they can actually see you like carrying swans around your farm, which I thought was very interesting.
They look like big dinosaur birds. They started out just a little bigger than Wendell, and I think they're 4 months now, and I think they're 25, 30 pounds already.
Are they friendly?
So far. But they are a pair. They are a boy and girl, so probably they'll get more aggressive. Swans, I guess, are noted to be mean, but so far they're not mean. Maybe they will once they get married and have a family.
So, do you still keep in touch with a lot of people from Survivor?
A few. Julie Berry, she's probably my favorite. I recently did get back in touch with Jenna Maraska, who I suggest you have on. She's just in Pittsburgh. She's a vet tech now, and she wanted to come to the farm because she saw my animals on Instagram too. Amy Cusack, just mainly people from my season, not too much though. I did a lot of charity events and going to the reunion shows and things in the beginning, but I don't do much now. I'm happy to just be at home.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that does open up a lot of connections, which is great. Now, you're, I'm sure you're at the farm getting attacked by bees all the time now.
But that's what I love.
Right. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you get attacked by bees a lot?
When I'm working bees and pulling queens, if I'm just checking for honey, the bees are usually pretty calm. But if we're pulling queens and checking for queens or making splits and things like that, then yeah, I'm getting nailed. But people are paying big money for apitherapy and bee venom therapy. So I just think to myself, that hurts, but it's free bee venom, free apitherapy. They're even saying that beekeepers are not, it's like an antidote or like a vaccine for the COVID. The bee venom. They're actually doing studies with bee venom because they're saying like beekeepers in Wuhan, none of them have tested positive for the coronavirus.
Wow, so that is very interesting. And we have 30 seconds left, so I'm going to end it with this. Dolly, I hope you'll be a friend of the show. I do want to come out to the farm sometime. Maybe we can film something out there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Has anyone ever interviewed you?
Nope.
You should
Nobody's
be.
interviewed me. Eventually that will happen, but we do have 13 seconds left. So I want to hope like I said, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you to Sheets, our sponsor, and Dolly will be in touch.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks a lot. Very entertaining. We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to everybody later. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Mercer County. Love you, Shenango Valley.